Morning, Facebook. It's Thursday. It's 10 a.m. It's Blabbing for Britain. Morning, John.
Good morning. I thought you were going to say good morning, Vietnam, when you did that.
I was thinking on it. Didn't quite get there. And I say good morning to Tish. Right. Okay.
Good morning, Tish.
Yes, good. Definitely. And welcome to the show. I'm glad that you found us. If you are watching on any other page than the BeLive in 5 page, we won't see your comments. So if you could just check that you're on the BeLive in 5 page, and if you're not, click the link that's in the text up above and you'll come straight to the page. So
have you got autofocus turned on your
just a minute, I'm just checking. Yeah, okay.
When you went like this, the thing went
Yeah, I've got everything else turned off, but that seems to have a habit of turning itself back on. Doesn't remember.
Yeah, I've noticed that too on the C920.
Yeah, so we should be okay now. Right. Okay. Joys of live broadcasting. Right. Okay. Now we can, because Peter's not here. I'm going to talk about this for a second, if you don't forgive me, John. James Anderson and Alastair Cook might not mean much to everybody, but to those who follow English cricket, they have been for the last 15 years at the heart of the English team. And Alastair Cook was captain, and he is the highest run scorer ever to play for England, and is one of the highest run scorers in the world. More interesting, however, than that, he's retiring. So he had a retirement this week. He scored a century in his last ever innings playing for England, and he was absolutely brilliant. Now, James Anderson is more interesting because James Anderson was born in Burnley. Fact.
Oh,
so he's a Burnley lad, like I am, and he started playing his cricket for the Burnley third 11, and then the second 11, and then the first 11. Then he was spotted by Lancashire. And then he was playing cricket in New Zealand when the English team was short of a fast bowler. So he was brought from New Zealand to Australia, played in that series, and he's been there ever since. He is now the highest wicket taker in the world as a fast bowler. He will not be overtaken. I can predict this now because he's still got many years to play. So 2 record breakers, one continuing to play. That's James Anderson, or Jimmy Anderson as he's known, from Burnley in Lancashire, if I didn't say it earlier. And Alastair Cook, who is going back to county cricket. So it's good to see 2 English sportsmen at the top of their game being recognised internationally, if not in Solihull. Hello, John.
And what about Collingwood?
Retiring, yes.
Yes.
Yes, he gave good service. Yeah, and Tish was saying it's exciting, which is good. Yeah, I think it's very exciting. I trying to explain cricket to people is very difficult because any game that takes 5 days to play, it just sounds balmy, idiotic. And what do you do for those 5 days?
I can't work out what the Americans call football. It just doesn't seem to work for me either. So, you know.
Yeah, I suppose
cricket, I guess, is like trying to explain American football to me, you know.
All right. Yeah, and me. So there we have it. Start off on a good news story. Jimmy Anderson and Alastair Cook of the England cricket team. And England beat India 4-1 in the recent series with the help of those 2 brilliant players. Now, staying with sport, but something akin to what we're doing today. The BBC has solved the World Cup streaming delay. Now, the problem was that when people were watching the World Cup, they were watching it on television and they were watching it on the internet. And you could have your neighbour next door watching it on television and you're watching on the internet. And all of a sudden, this cheer goes up next door because a goal's been scored. But you've not seen it because of the delay between the terrestrial TV and the internet. Yeah. So the World Cup highlighted this problem. The BBC said they've solved it, which is good news for us all, isn't it, John?
I'll be interested to see whether they've done it with the Archers, because my wife insists on listening to it on the radio, and I listen to it on the internet. And the internet is always a fraction of, well, not a fraction, but a couple of seconds behind the radio. So I wonder if they can do the same with the Radio 4.
They're not ready to release it publicly yet, but it will make a difference to everybody who listens to anything on the internet. Let's just dig deeper into this because it is important. And I'm just pasting it into my notepad so I can actually see the text. Okay. Many online viewers of football's World Cup in the summer heard neighbours cheering goals they'd not seen happen because the online stream was a few seconds behind the TV broadcast. BBC Research and Development said it had now managed to eliminate the delay. However, its software is not ready to be rolled out to the public yet. Live TV watched online is often behind by several seconds because it takes longer to reliably, and that's the key word, reliably, send video over the internet than to broadcast it. The issue has also affected Amazon's broadcast of the US Open tennis. Analysts say the online stream was often 45 seconds behind the broadcast. Well, you have some fun watching television and the internet and listening to the radio at the same time. When video is streamed online, it is broken into small packets. We know that. Packets are sent from one end to another, encrypted, unencrypted, and put together again, which are reassembled by the recipient's device. If each segment is very short, processing time becomes inefficient. However, if they are too long, there's more of a delay between the TV broadcast and the online stream. The BBC said it found ways to create smaller segments that can also be passed through the system more quickly. It said viewers of the resulting online stream would see action at the same time as if they were watching on TV. Now, that's got repercussions worldwide. I mean, that technology, if we could actually see live events as live rather than with delay. Have you found the page, John?
No, I was just having a quick look to see if I could, but I've given up now.
Okay, hang on. Let me.
Well, it doesn't matter. You've done a great job of telling us why, and how they're going to fix it.
All right. Okay. I suppose.
I'll look at the details later.
Okay. In that case, I'll just put the BBC link in the comments, and I think it's British ingenuity at its best, really. Because we started the internet, didn't we, John?
Tim Berners-Lee and all that stuff, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We started the internet. He was working for Kern in Switzerland, wasn't he? When he came up with this idea of HTTP pages.
Sir Tim Berners-Lee.
Yes, we better give him his.
Yeah.
It's one of these guys who should have patented it. And he would be a zillionaire now. Never mind Bill Gates and co. Yeah. But he didn't. He gave the technology to us, for us to use for free, and a great benefit, because without his flash of brilliance, the internet might not have arrived as quickly as it did. I'm not saying somebody else wouldn't have had the same thought. That's why I'm sort of being guarded. But he did it. He created it. And we say good morning to the Fylde Coast and good morning to Blackpool. If you've just joined us, you might have missed the BBC internet story, Stephen. And BBC are saying that they have solved the problem of watching live video on the internet as opposed to watching it on TV. They've managed to get both delivered exactly at the same time. And the technology will roll out, but at the moment they're still testing. It has repercussions. John will be able to listen to the Archers at the same time as his lady, and that will make life a lot easier. Right, okay. Now, I suppose we've got to mention Hurricane Florence, which fortunately has been downgraded to a Category 2 storm, because they did feel it was going to go up from Category 4 to Category 5 at one stage. So it has lessened, and the winds are down from 130 to 110 miles an hour. To my mind, 110 is still pretty fast, John.
Yeah. I think we've enjoyed sort of 80s round here, but we don't get 110s, 120s, 130s in the UK, do we?
Oh, no, no.
Except for that one time when all the trees got blown down and Michael Fish said it wasn't going to be a a problem.
True, and he'll be forever famous for that. Now, we get gusts of 70 and 80, especially up in northern Scotland. But where we are, which is inland, definitely inland, at least an hour away from the coast.
You couldn't get much further away from the seaside where I live if you tried. So
no, you're slap bang in the middle.
Well, I live about 3.5 miles from the supposed centre of England. So yeah.
So you're slap bang in the middle. So I thought so with everybody in North and South Carolina and in the path of Hurricane Florence. We know on a small scale what happens when you get flash floods. So we're hoping that because it's going to stay around for 4 or 5 days, that's the problem. It's going to dump all its water over a period of 4 or 5 days, and it affects 10 million people, I think, which is a sixth of our population if it happened in the UK. So we know we've got people, we've got software houses who are actually working in that area or based in that area. So stay safe, everybody, and do as you're told. Yeah? Because would you sit out a hurricane?
No. It's not like we're as big as the States, is it, where they've got somewhere to run to that won't be getting it. Yeah,
we could all go to the Scilly Isles, I suppose.
Yeah,
that's as far south as we can go, really, because it would be the north coast that got the wind. So send everybody from Scotland down to the Scilly Isles. Yeah, I think we're just so lucky. My watch is warning me I've been sat down for 45 minutes. It's the same watch as last week, which, as we all know, was a Yame watch costing £28.32, available on Amazon, and that's the watch. That's the watch. Okay.
Have you done your review and got your money back yet?
I'm going to do the review today, and then I'll keep you informed of getting my money back. I don't perceive any problem. I can always change my review. So I'm in control of that one.
Where has the review got to be? On Amazon?
On Amazon UK, yeah. And I don't have a problem giving a good review because I sang the praises of it last week. It's got an app which works well. It integrates into Google Fit, and I'm a happy bunny because all I have to do is wear the watch, and the system knows exactly where I've been and how many steps I've done. I can take my heart rate. In fact, I'll do it now, and then we'll know whether being on live on air is actually right. Okay, has an effect. Right. So weather, stay safe. Now, John Lewis profits slump 99% in challenging times. Debenhams are going to the wall, aren't they?
Well, then there's a piece about a potential tie-up between Debenhams and House of Fraser. So,
well, House of Fraser are going to the wall, aren't they?
The House of Fraser is owned by a Newcastle owner now.
Oh yes, Sports Direct.
Yeah. But he already owns 30% of Debenhams.
This is getting convoluted. We're going to end up with Sports Direct on every high. Well, we've got that at the moment with their own stores, but it's a sign of the times, isn't it? I mean, we go to shops, we browse, then we come back and go on to Amazon. Well, I do, don't you?
Well, not necessarily just Amazon, but yeah.
We get. I mean, you've got to say that if you want something delivering to your door and you want it at a price and you want it a certain quality, then the online retailers have got a better chance of actually doing that than delivery men from a store, however local it may be. I mean, you can order from Amazon. They say you get it in 15 hours. You get it in 15 hours. There's no if, ands, or buts in there. It's just quality is just so impressive. So John Lewis, but the thing about John Lewis, which we need to mention, is this is owned by its staff.
Yeah, and of course, a lot of them are quite dependent on their annual bonus to take their earnings up. So
that's right.
No profits. There's going to be no annual bonuses, is there?
Yeah. That's it. The store is owned by its staff, who are given shares in return for longevity of service.
Did you know that earlier this year they went through a name change?
Okay.
Okay, although we still all talk about John Lewis, both John Lewis and Waitrose had a name change there, and it's now called John Lewis and Partners.
Ah, right. Okay.
And Waitrose and Partners.
Waitrose and Partners.
Because they've been heavily criticised for the costs involved in doing it.
Yes. Well, Waitrose is from where I'm sat. Waitrose is perceived as being expensive.
Waitrose recently, well, say recently, probably about 12, 13 months ago, opened in Solihull.
Oh, okay.
And we didn't. Solihull Town Centre doesn't actually have much in the way of supermarkets. The Sainsbury's is tiny, and has got even smaller because they've moved Argos inside Sainsbury's. There's a Morrison's on the edge of town.
Yeah.
And we gained a Waitrose. There's no Tesco in the town centre. But they're all worried now because last week, Little or Aldi, one or the other anyway, has been using the old courthouse as their Midlands training centre.
Okay, yeah.
And last week they got permission to turn it into a store. And you know what?
Yeah.
There's only one thing between Waitrose and this proposed new store, and that's John Lewis's car park.
Well,
that's going to bring interesting times.
Indeed. But anywhere Lidl go, customers go.
Yeah. Genuinely can't remember whether it's Aldi or Lidl. I think it's Lidl, but I'll have to have a look. So.
Good morning.
Hi guys. How are you? Sorry, I'm late.
No, Tish just said, so you guys are just the two amigos this morning. Huh. No, we're not. We're the three of us. We are the three amigos. We are the three musketeers. No worries at all. And
only till March.
Well, we can talk about that today. Peter's not joining us.
Sorry, no, on camera. How rude.
Peter's Gordon's not back, so he's having to work today.
Yeah.
That bloody time. Comes on
busy today.
Comes on here.
It's quite worrying for Peter because he's been ill for a number of weeks now.
Peter has?
No, Gordon has. Gordon running the outside of
Gordon's alive.
Yeah.
Go on then.
So apologies.
Gordon's been running the outside of the business, and Pete's been the marketing director, if you like, and sales director.
Which he was enjoying.
But now he's had to put his uniform back on and get in the van.
Yeah. Get in a man with a van.
Yeah.
My pest control friend has never been so bloody busy.
Well, that's Pete's problem. They haven't been. Never. That is.
So many wasp nests, thousands of bloody wasp nests. And
of course, they're now because things like plums, etc., are coming ripe, are going into their aggressive mode.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Because they're not aggressive for the full season. It's only when the competition comes for food.
Oh, yeah. Blimey.
In the early part of the summer season, they're great pollinators, wasps, alongside the bees.
Blimey. I hate wasps. Love bees, hate wasps. And there's a South American hornet as well, which is killing all the bees.
Well, there's the Japanese hornet and a few others. We've got all the notices on the boards about different hornets that are killing off beehives, etc., and having to lie out of them. Yeah. An interesting one while we're just talking about wasps. My local newspaper, the Solihull News, is part of what was called Mirror Group Newspapers, but is now called something completely different. And they ran a story about how you can avoid wasps and stop annoying them and all this sort of thing. But the picture was bees, not wasps. And then you discover it's one of the indicated things that's in just about every local newspaper going. And they'd made this massive mistake of putting a photo of bees in and blaming them as wasps.
Photos of wasps and blaming the bees?
No, it was all about wasps and
when they put a bee in.
problems, but he'd got a photograph of bees with it.
That's going to help us protect the species.
Yeah.
What else is new, Sir Stephen?
I don't know.
No, please, no. Don't ask him what we've talked about so far. We do not want to go back to cricket.
Oh, Christ. You're
talking about Jimmy Anderson and Alastair Cook. Okay. I've taken it off the screen now. You can come back. I've actually got to mention it.
Sorry, John.
It's okay. Well, for John to say it's okay. Just to shout out, I'm just going to bring a picture up here. I just want to rearrange the screen a little bit. Every Tuesday at 2 p.m., 9 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. in the UK, we have a program called I Live Here. And that's where Fonz tours the country with his iPhone 6 and reports in and gives the history of a particular area. So your starter for 10, gentlemen, is to recognise the station.
Well, it's got to be Cambridge, hasn't it?
No.
Yeah, right, it does look familiar, but I've no idea where it is.
Right, okay. It's Stevenage. Yeah, if you want to know all about Stevenage, then catch the replay of the show. It went out yesterday, but the reason for bringing it up and mentioning I Live Here is very, very simple. It is that next week, and both Fonz and I will be in the studio, and we will have a guest reporting in on their phone from where they live. And that guest is our good friend Ricky Rundle, and she's going to be going out and about in Hull City, which I love. It's a place. Have you ever been, John, Pete, Stephen?
Oh, no.
No? You don't know what you've missed? No. Humber Bridge.
Middlesbrough was bad enough with that. No, I have been to Hull, really, but only to drive through it.
Well, if you want
the Humber Bridge.
You know how you said John P. Stephen then, Stephen?
Yeah.
You're giving what's the word? Same sort of behaviour my dad has done for the last 54 years. I'm 58, but for the last 54 years, when my brother Peter was born. And ever since that day, whenever he addresses me, he says, Pete Stephen, because he just couldn't get to grips with my name on its own.
Took you down memory lane. I should call you.
And also down memory lane, by the way, you see that picture of a train there, a 125, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That's 43.
Oh, well, whatever, like I give a monkey. But I worked for BR in the mid-90s. And I was running the, amongst other things, the payroll system, HR system, and then took over responsibility for the email system that they had at the time, DOS-based thing, and then the network infrastructure, the servers that are hanging off every office. And I was in the loft the other day clearing out some crap, and I came across a load of papers from the BR days, specifically the BR days when I put the timetables on the internet, railway timetables, and then live running information. And I got a load of correspondence between what was known as Sema Group, because they bought us out. They bought out the IT bit of BR. And I got loads of correspondence where the train operators were moaning at me because Railtrack wouldn't let them use i.e. Sema Group's operating computer system. And some of the language I got away with in the letters between me and Railtrack, the company in Railtrack, are classic silkies. So at some stage, I don't know if it's, I know that there's somewhere as a heritage site, there's bound to be loads of them for the railways, but I can't wait to get that stuff published. It's a marvelous thing. I respectfully decline your request to and that's where you're trying to. That's where that equates to go yourself and all this sort of stuff. It was wonderful backwards and forwards, and getting paid as well to do it. So I just thought I'd mention that, and keep your eyes out for UK Railways on the Net. That was our website.
Let's take a real trip down memory lane then, and bring up a different photograph.
That would be a steam train, mate.
Well spotted, Stephen. You get 4 points for that.
Once a railway man, always a railway man.
That is definitely a steam train. Okay. I'm not going to ask where that is because that
Bridge.
But I can tell you it's in Cambridgeshire. So John, you'd have got pretty close on that one.
Yeah. Going back to the other photo, those Class 43s, which are now 40 plus years old.
Yeah.
They're all moving to Scotland and being replaced by Japanese stuff, Class 900s in the UK.
Will that improve the service?
The Scots are delighted to receive them because they're just about the most reliable thing available on the railways at the moment.
Yeah.
So they've been tarting them up, putting them in new livery and shipping them north.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to my train. My next train journey will be on the 28th of this month when I head from Wiltshire to Lancashire. And that will take me from Chippenham to Bristol, Bristol to Birmingham, Birmingham to Preston, and Preston to my final destination, which of course is Burnley.
It's quite likely on the Bristol to Birmingham bit you'll travel on one of those Class 43.
Okay. All right. So I'll take the trains off, and it's just back to us now.
Just mentioning trains, yeah.
Yeah.
I finally started using my new pretty phone, the Huawei P20, which is supposed to be the photographer's dream with 3 cameras on the back. And I took some nighttime pictures a few days ago of a steam train, or parts of a steam train, because it was missing its bogies and all sorts of things, being delivered to Tysley's works at gone 10 o'clock at night. And I cannot believe how good the pictures are in the dark. So they're on my Facebook page if anybody's interested to see what the P20 can do. That's killed all the discussion, hasn't it?
No, you're good.
I've got friends who take marvelous photos, like when they go on holiday and stuff like that, and they're sort of wondering, okay, I've done it now, and I've got them for my own pleasure and for family pleasure and stuff. But there's some cracking photos, and the huge issue is, where do you put them? Do you put them on Facebook? Do you put them on Twitter? Do you put them on your?
I post a lot of photos on Twitter and Facebook, so it's there. The thing is, you got to be careful if you put things on the Facebooks and Twitter if you are on holiday, because you're telling people your house is empty.
Yeah, this is afterwards.
Yeah, no, but you'll be amazed how many people do say, "Oh, I'm in Ibiza. Here's me photos."
Yeah. Happy days.
Okay.
43.
Yeah, 143. You're nearing the 156. We'll hit 156 before the end of the year, all things being equal, and then we should have a celebration.
Why 156?
That's 3 times 52 is 156, which will be our 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, I mean, we have had a couple of weeks off, but not very many, really, have we?
True. We have holidays occasionally. Holidays? What are holidays? He said. I've just gone through the summer. Right, okay, back to things British. We'll go here first. Tougher sentences for emergency staff attacks. For life, I cannot understand hospital staff being attacked. Well, I know it happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I can't understand why you would actually attack the people who are helping you. Be it ambulance men, be it hospital staff, but the maximum sentence is now going up from 6 months to a year. Your thoughts?
10. If it's assault, it's assault, and if it's on one of the people trying to help us, treble it, if not 10 times the bloody sentence. Sound like Peter, don't I?
You can try, but you'll not get there, Stephen. John.
You're too calm when you get one to say. Is it easy to
That's the way
say?
to deal with him.
10 bloody years that we've got to,
The thing that the thing that annoys them the most is when you say, Peter, I understand what you're saying. Have you considered X, Y, and Z? And he obviously never does, because he's halfway through his rant. It's great. I love talking to Peter.
I'm in agreement with the 1 year is not enough.
Yeah, too bad.
More?
Well, we could go Sharia law. They'd chop their hands off, wouldn't they? And various other bits.
We could have a Sharia law debate too.
No, don't do that.
No, we shouldn't go there. Yes, that's a whole new topic. But just, I in agreement for tougher sentences. I think any right-minded person is, or even a left-minded person, come to that. But hopefully, they will. Right. Okay. Now, this.
And my other thought is, if it happens in an ambulance, they should throw the bugger out in the drain.
But they've got the earth of.
Just go off and help somebody else.
That's a poor impression of Peter, John. Lol, but good try. Okay, there you are.
There was too much hand action, wasn't there?
There was, yeah. And the accent as well. You've got to practice the accent. You've got to get the accent right. Never mind. Okay, now, wishful thinking and politics often go together. Yes, they do. A no-deal Brexit won't bring back mobile roaming charges. Just a word of explanation to everybody around the globe. When we go into Europe, we are not charged extra for mobile roaming anymore. If I get this wrong,
that's quite right. Quite right.
Okay, so we are leaving the EU next year, and of course that means that any agreement in place is null and void, and it's not in our statute books. So, do you know what Mr. Raab has said?
This would be bullshit, wherever you're at, whatever he has said, Steve.
He said that although there will be no legal obligation to do so, the government are hopeful that the telco companies will adhere to no roaming charges. By voluntarily, not charging.
Government, that would be true, but you ain't. So it's the vote. The telcos will just say, put two fingers up and do what the hell they like.
It just needs one of them to say, right, stuff you, and I'm charging, and everybody will charge.
What's the situation with a Vodafone or a French telco and a French customer coming over here?
I don't know. Research for next week, I think. We've got to dig deeper. John?
This is more likely to affect the chairman of the Town Twinning Association with his French and German responsibilities than it is me.
Right, okay.
So that's back at you, Stephen.
I was going to back out. That was just a...
No, it's a good point. Good point. Yeah. I don't tend to phone. Well, yeah, we'll see what happens with interest. But the
according to my contract, I get unlimited minutes in Europe as well. So they'd have to rewrite the contracts, wouldn't they? That we've all signed.
No, they won't do that because you might want to drop out.
Yeah. When it comes to renewing the contract, however. Anyway, it's our wishful thinking government continues.
Have you seen some of the surveys about having a second referendum?
Yeah.
And how they're now massively in favour of a second referendum. I'm not promoting a second referendum here, by the way. I'm just merely commenting on what
the Independent have gone overboard on it, haven't they? The newspaper, they're really pushing for it. They're calling it the people's vote because it obviously wasn't people last time we voted.
And the unions are pushing for it.
Yeah, they're on board, and I reckon, they'll probably have one.
And I've got a poster in my window, in our window, which alludes to a meeting taking place in Devizes on the 21st of September, which is all about Brexit.
You're declaring independence?
Yeah, independence for Wiltshire. We've got Stonehenge, we've got Avebury, we've got Salisbury. I mean, people are going to come to us anyway, so no problem there. We've got the tourism side sourced.
You missed something out from your list.
Yeah?
You didn't talk about we've got poisoning as well.
I'm thinking about the Russian.
Yeah.
You've got a sizable Russian community over there.
That would be a macabre. That would be a macabre tourist trail, wouldn't it?
Bloody right, yeah.
Years to come. But I'll tell you the truth now. This is the meeting is. Because we might be so pissed off by what's going to go wrong that we'd rather not know about it.
Yeah? Is that you or
I'm not saying. But think about it. If you go into a meeting about Brexit, they can only talk about the downside of exactly what's going to happen or might happen next year. In order to, they can't say what will happen if. Well, it's going to be a miserable event, isn't it? And that's the problem. That in order for people to really grasp it, you've got to tell them the hard, cold facts. Well,
what's the point, though? What's the point of the meeting?
Basically, it's a second vote meeting.
That doesn't mean anything, mate. What do you mean?
To barrack for a second vote.
So you're a pressure group trying to agree to tell people to have a second.
Oh, that's got rid of Stephen. Right, okay. Politics does it every time.
Battery dies again.
Right, okay. I think what they're actually after, to be more practical, because the second referendum won't come, is I'm going to rephrase what I said and probably read the leaflet that's in the window would help as well. In that they're actually after having the vote in Parliament, which has the final say, which may scupper the whole thing. Oh,
there's a lot of agitation going on in Trenton, where I live. Got two things. The NatWest closed the local branch to about 200 yards up the road, and because they couldn't be bothered to keep the branch open. And local brewery, Titanic, I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah.
They're creating things called BODs, which are community-based bar cafes, and they want to convert the old bank into a cafe bar. And there's obviously opposition from the golf club next door, across the road, and the guys are going to put in a cash machine, which was obviously taken away when NatWest buggered off. I did find it a little bit ironic that NatWest were advertising on LinkedIn their community bankers, and this is where a person from NatWest or whatever turns up at the local pub or the local community centre and does banking. I thought, wouldn't it be marvellous if we had somewhere where we could actually go and, I don't know, talk to a banker and post a cheque or something like that, those arcane things, get money out. But there's all sorts of options going on about that.
I said, surely you just described a bank.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then the other thing that's happening is, if you can imagine a long main road, which I live on, and then a roundabout at the bottom, and in the morning it gets congested because all the kids are trying to be taken to schools and things like that. Well, the council have once again accepted a proposal, not accepted. They're looking at a proposal from a developer to put another 500 houses to squeeze through the same piece of road. So there's all sorts of community stuff kicking off about that. Not because we don't want the houses, but because you can't squeeze a quart into a pint bottle.
A pint pot, yeah.
That's it. And it's just, you sort of think to yourself, once again, it's the sort of the local community trying to stop or encourage the council to do something sensible. So I'm just trying to say that I'm getting more and more adventurous in my Peter Stewartness, to sort of say, no, this shall not pass. But we shall see.
Did you not post a picture of a pint of Titanic recently?
Oh God, yeah. I don't know if you've ever had the privilege of drinking Titanic's plum porter. It is the most divine. It's one of the best ales you can buy. But the one I posted the other night was a cherry dark. So it's like a stout with they're absolutely bloody gorgeous.
The only reason I know about Titanic is it's one of this month's guest beers at Aldi, because Aldi now has 16 guest beers a month in bottles.
I did not know that, and it was only in Aldi.
Right.
I walked past it this morning.
It's store dependent, because if your store is only small, then you don't get the guest beer section.
Yeah, Titanic is about 7 miles that way, the brewery.
Ah, right, yeah.
So hopefully
it's on the front of it, you know.
Wow, love it. But it's a gorgeous drink. It truly is.
See, my Aldi is like an aircraft hangar. It's huge.
Well, keep an eye out for plum porter. Or any Titanic ale, to be honest. And there's, just for the sort of balance, there's another brewery about 12 miles that way called the Limestone Brewery in a place called Stone. And again, we're blessed. I mean, I guess all areas are blessed by their local microbreweries and proper sized breweries. You know, anything other than Carling Bleeding Black Label and stuff like that. You know.
Well, one of the guest beers they've got on this month is called the Trooper, and it's supposedly been mixed by the members of Iron Maiden, the band. I can't remember which brewery is doing it, but it's a northern brewery that's doing it. It's quite amazing to have guests. They have these unusual ciders as well.
Yeah, well, as I mentioned last time, there's the Stoke Beer Festival in October. An old ceramic factory called Spode, and there's going to be a marvelous but potentially painful event, because you walk in and I'll just sample this beer, I'll just sample that beer, and then several samples later you're sampled out. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
You have to find a bit.
I went out with my wife and all of my children and their respective partners on Saturday night, and had one of the worst meals I've had in a long time. But going back to the thing you've just said, I went to the loo, and there was a young man in the loo throwing water all over his face. And I said to him, "Are you all right?" He said, "Not really. I've been at the Nottingham Beer Festival all day." He started at 10 o'clock this morning. He said, "But what makes it worse is I'm here with my girlfriend's mother." And he said, "I'm trying to do my best to not appear pissed." He said, "But I am pissed."
Oh, God.
Right. Okay. Now, I'm glad you're here, Stephen, because yesterday was a momentous event. I'm led to believe.
Didn't pay any attention to the iPhone XR XS Max.
Sorry, XR.
Yes.
Well, in case you missed it, and everybody missed it, the BBC have done us the favour. I'm just posting the link now. Of actually condensing the whole show down to 90 seconds, and I've just posted a link to the Apple event in 90 seconds. Was there anything that we should?
Good job, Ty Tyson's not here. That's all I can say.
Well,
you probably don't know Ty Tyson, but Ty Tyson, I know that Stephen knows him.
Yeah,
most Apple mad individual on the face of the earth.
We've got a network which has been going since 2010-11. Which is called Prospect Networking, and Ty was a member of it. And I had to remove Ty from the group, because every time somebody mentioned Android, he would wade in with Mac and iOS, and it got heated, to say the least, because he was dyed in the wool.
I wouldn't mind if he was a young kid, but he's in his 40s.
Yeah.
Now, to answer your question, I've currently got an iPhone 6, which badly needs an upgrade. And I think, just at the moment, rather than going to the iPhone 8, I'm going to go for the iPhone 10R. Because it's apparently, it came out yesterday, it's cheaper. I mean, you're talking about £999 for the normal iPhone X, grand $1,099 for the bigger version, and then this iPhone XR is about $799.
Yeah, those are all dollar prices.
And it's equal. No, that's the same. The dollars.
The same iPhone X here is certainly around here. You can buy for cash an iPhone X for $795.
Not that model anymore. You can't. It's been discontinued.
All right.
So there's 3 options for the iPhone X apparently. The R, which is like a cheaper version, but apparently still very good. And this is just what I'm hearing on my friends' chatter. Yeah. But then there's the new super duper one, and then the super duper one. We got something called Super Retina now. So what was the most marvelous screen in the world is now old hat, and we've got the Super Retina. But I think it'll be the iPhone XR because I'm due an upgrade, and why not go for it? I mean, I'm still a bit worried. Why isn't the iPhone 9 come out?
The X is because it was 10 years old.
For sure, but where's the 9? 2 years now since we got the 8.
That's going backwards in time, isn't it? The 9.
There's nobody who said it out loud, John. It's a conspiracy. Where's Peter?
The elusive iPhone 9. Where did it go?
So my daughter has an X and an Apple Watch.
Right.
The Apple Watch is £700 or £800.
But she was fortunate to get a deal where the phone, she effectively got the watch for like an extra £2 a month on her 2-year contract.
That's good.
Because they were desperate to shift stock because I guess they knew that the new watch was coming as well.
But apparently
an unbelievable deal. Yeah, for 30-something odd pounds a month. And because it's a personal contract, it's not a business contract. She gets 80 gig. She has the phone, the X, and the smartwatch, the watch, all for under £40.
That's good, isn't it? I'm waiting for O2 to get back to me on the upgrade.
I'm really pleased with my piece of Chinese stuff, so we'll have to wait.
You are, John. Sure you are.
And it has the super high res that matches the latest Retina Advanced, and it's a weird resolution. So,
right, staying with technology, Quriobot. Which you've both heard of, obviously. Well, no, not necessarily. Quriobot. You've heard of ManyChat Messenger bot, works on Facebook Messenger, and that's what we use and RJ uses, and we promote every single week. And it works. Quriobot has nothing to do with Facebook Messenger, but it is a bot, and it works on WordPress. And it is the ability to make your WordPress site or landing page more. Well, it enables you to start conversations with people and to take bookings and do a whole host of things. The reason for mentioning it is that I'm going to take a look at it later today, because at the moment it is being heavily promoted by the AppSumo guys. And you can get it for a year for $49, which has got to be.
Is that for multiple sites or just one site?
Just yes, per site. So you can stack it if you wish. But it's worth looking at because of the way they've actually got the templates sorted, so that you can actually just take a template, mod it to your own needs, and it then works on your site. So if anybody visits your website, they can start a conversation with you by Quriobot. And I know this has been done before. Yeah, I've just posted this I read it out, Quriobot bot without the full stop at the end. And I'm looking at that later today.
But you've got to be foolish enough to have a WordPress site, have you? Only
yes,
works
you
with
have.
WordPress. Yeah.
No.
We all know your views on WordPress, John.
Sorry?
It works with any site. I just used WordPress because they've got a plugin for WordPress. You'd have to do a little bit more work to get it on a site. Yes, okay. I just love the simplicity of WordPress.
I'm trying to stop going to AppSumo and all these other places because there are so many tempting deals these days. You buy things and then you never use them.
And occasionally you buy things and do use them, and therefore it's swings and roundabouts.
Have they got any augmented reality stuff there, Stephen?
Sorry?
Have they got any augmented reality apps on AppSumo?
I don't know. You best hop over there and have a browse around. I mean, they do get some very good apps, and Quriobot is one of those that stands out because, like anything, you get a situation where they market things which are of no interest to you whatsoever, but occasionally
there's a whole host of these. There's green deals. That's like green deals, but without the N. And then there's Deal Fuel. So there's loads of these people who are doing this software distribution. And what's the one we both bought the other day? I'm having begins with a H, Stephen.
H. Oh, right. Okay. Humble.
Yeah, Humble. That's the other one. Humble Software. That's mainly games, but every now and again, like every month, they have a bundle of commercial style software.
Yeah. Which reminds me that there is an offer from Camtasia at the moment, because we got Camtasia old version for a song using Humble. There is 20% off the upgrade now.
Yeah.
For a limited period.
I've decided I'm not going to use Camtasia. It's not as good as Snap, I'm afraid.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to stick with Snap. I'm very happy with the other product. I'm having a mental block now. What was the other product we got?
We got what did we get? Reflector 3?
I like Reflector 3, but the main
Snagit.
Was it Snagit? Okay. It's Camtasia I'm happy with. It's Snagit I don't like, sorry.
Right, okay.
It's not as good as Snap. So
I was going to do more tech talk, but we've frightened everybody off, so I'll bring some more tech talk back next week because it'll still be relevant. Tish, all right. Stephen, Tish is saying, can you give an update on your grandchild?
School, good reports from school. She is being what we call over here, little bugger.
Did you have a more recent one?
I've got 5.
5. All right.
Four, Lola, Jakey, Alfie, and just 4. I've got 4.
Right.
I'll be in trouble if I've got 5, won't I? She remains the absolute. No, 5. I've got Ronnie, who's now 4 months old. So
exactly. That's who.
I think that's who Tish is referring to.
Yeah, he's just so gorgeous.
I misled you by saying she. I of course meant to say he.
No, he's just the most delightful. He's giving Katie, my daughter, some jip at the moment. He goes to bed at say 10 o'clock and then up at 1, 4, and 6, or 12 and 5. So he's giving us some jip at the moment. So I hope that gives you an indication, Tish, of what's going on. He's just the most amazing kid. They all are, of course, they all are. But have you got grandkids, John, Stephen?
Yes, I have a grandchild, and she is awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't got any yet.
Kids are great, but the grandchildren just a different level of, my goodness.
Yeah.
Very nice.
All right. Okay. Just one final note. We're heading towards being a cashless society because cash machines are disappearing from the rate of 350 cash machines a month. We have 53,000 apparently nationally. So in quite, well, not into the math, but they're going to disappear because we have become cashless, haven't we? We are becoming cashless.
Do you ever use a cash machine?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't like using the card in every single shop I go into. If I'm just buying something for a fiver, I'd rather pay a fiver in cash.
Well, but now you can just tap. I'll even pay £1.50 now. You can just tap. Yeah, on it with your card. I haven't used a cash machine in a long time, simply because we have had a long-term issue with people taping devices to the front and scanning your card. Yeah. So if I want cash, I buy something for with my debit card for around a fiver, and then add the cash onto the withdrawal there, rather than using a machine.
Yeah.
Occasionally for me it's cash, because some of the networking things I do are cash.
Yeah.
But the only thing I pay for with cash these days is the fish and chips.
That's tomorrow, John. Oh, tomorrow, Angelica's son Martin is in 3 bands, and he's just been touring Germany with V2A, and they did 5 gigs in Hanover, Berlin, and 3 other cities, and he is definitely going to be on the road more. But tomorrow, we're going to a gig tomorrow night, and we're going to be rocked by Rammstein or Ramlide or some such. So think of me tomorrow night at midnight when this rock concert is going on. Sorry?
Where's the gig at?
The gig's in the metropolis of Swindon.
Right. Is this a pub, a hall, or?
I think they're taking over the whole of Swindon. It says pub. It's a pub. Right. Okay. We're coming up to the hour. So I'm going to say from Wiltshire in England, thank you for watching. Take care. Have a great weekend. And it's over to John.
We didn't hear any excitement from Stoke. Is there no excitement happening in Stoke other than they want to build 500 houses around the corner?
Yeah, that's about it. I just say that at the weekend, I just recommend that you eat lots of oranges this week. That's about it.
Okay.
No excitement, just oranges.
Last Saturday, it rained in the afternoon, so there was nobody down the allotments. But there was somebody, or multiple people down the allotments, because all 32 sheds on the allotments were broken into and had items stolen from them. Diverse things like I lost a hand trowel and fork and a club hammer and some little gas cylinders. But other people lost tables and chairs, mowers and all sorts of things.
What is Solihull coming to, John?
Yeah, they're actually in. This is a bit of a debate because part of the allotments are in Birmingham and part of them are in Solihull. The actual allotments actually belong to Birmingham. This is the third time we've had break-ins this year, but this time it must have been teamwork, because in a 2 and a bit hour period they went from one end to the other, and it is not small. It's multiple acres of land. Some of the items were found in the stream where they'd climbed over the fence to get in. The stupid thing is that the council won't do anything about the fence, but the council owns the land on either side, because the other side of the fence is a park. And the back of the park is wooded, so they can go in there, sit in there at the will, look in, see whether there's anybody around, and then decide to come over.
I think we should adopt the Stephen Healey approach. Flog them.
Well, I think there's one or two people who would be a bit more creative, who have their plots attacked, shall we say. And one of our jokers has now hung up a noose by his shed. I must take a photo of it so as you can see.
Illiterate.
So little gits. And we're not talking small money here. We're talking thousands of pounds worth. Not just theft, but damage. I don't have a padlock on my shed. If they want to get in, they've only got to undo the bolt and open it. Some people had £60 locks, and all they did was smash the door.
Oh.
So, you know, I personally think a padlock on a shed in a place like that is stating, I've got things in here I don't want you to have, and is then an invite to get, you know, into crazy stuff. Anyway, so that's my downside bit of news. But Solihull isn't a bad place to live, you know, despite all these little trials and tribulations. Car theft is the biggest problem in Solihull.
Oh dear.
Have either of you seen the course of cannibalism?
No.
Okay, Corsa, it's a nationwide thing that's been going on for the last 3 years, but has hit the West Midlands. And I'm not just looking so here, I mean, hit the West Midlands. What they do is they find a Corsa, they smash the passenger window, they reach in, they open the bonnet. The first thing they do is take the battery leads off to disable the alarm. And then they unscrew the entire front of the car and drive away, leaving the car with no bonnet, no wings, no front. And it's happening all the time. Funnily enough, on Monday of this week, it happened in the parking area where my daughter lives. And a young man had his pride and joy stripped of its entire front. A young lad, actually, who's very pleasant, who can ill afford the cost it's going to take to rebuild it. So, of course, of cannibalism, you might do a little search on Google and be amazed just how frequent it's happening in the UK. So that's all the bad stuff. So let's go on to some positive stuff. The sun is shining. The sun is shining, and they're saying it's going to be with us for a week or more.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So it's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from him over there, him up there, him down there, him over there, him over there. And we'll even say goodbye from Peter, even though he's not here today. So that's goodbye from all over the UK. And we'll see you next week for 144. Is it 100?
144. 144. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Next week it'll be a gross day.
But it won't be a gross program. I'll see you all later.